Japan's infantry was known for its ferocity, but they had a secret fear. American shotguns were a game changer. These guns packed a punch. Japanese soldiers were trained to fight in tight jungle spaces, but they struggled with close combat. They relied on rifles and machine guns, which were less effective at close range. American forces, on the other hand, had a secret weapon that would give them an edge. The 12-gauge shotgun was a brutal tool that could cut down multiple enemies with a single shot. Viewers often wonder how American forces gained the upper hand in fierce battles. They want to know the tactics and strategies that led to victory. The answer lies in the unexpected use of 12-gauge shotguns. These guns were not just for hunting, but for taking down enemy soldiers in the most brutal way possible. By the end of this story, you'll understand how American forces used shotguns to outmaneuver their enemies. We'll take a closer look at the battles where shotguns made all the difference. From the jungles of Guadalcanal to the beaches of Tarawa, American forces used shotguns to devastating effect. We'll explore the tactics and strategies that led to their success, and how the Japanese infantry never expected the brutality of the 12-gauge shotgun. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more stories like this. We dive into the untold stories of war, and explore the tactics and strategies that changed the course of history. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of history buffs and military enthusiasts. The sound of a shotgun blast is unmistakable. It's a loud, sharp crack that can be heard for miles. For Japanese infantry during World War II, that sound was a game changer. They were used to facing traditional rifles and machine guns, but the Americans had something new up their sleeve, the 12-gauge shotgun. In the Pacific Theater, the dense jungle and close-quarters combat made traditional rifles less effective. The Americans needed a weapon that could deliver a lot of power at close range. That's where the shotgun came in. The M1897 and M1912 shotguns were widely used by American troops, and they proved to be highly effective in the tight spaces of the jungle. One story that stands out is the Battle of Guadalcanal. It was a small island in the Solomon Islands, but it was a crucial strategic location. The Japanese had built an air base there, and the Americans needed to take it back. The battle was fierce, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. But the Americans had an advantage: their shotguns. The Japanese infantry was trained to fight in tight formations, which made them vulnerable to the shotgun's spread. The Americans would often use their shotguns to clear out Japanese positions, firing at point-blank range to devastating effect. The Japanese soldiers were not prepared for the ferocity of the shotgun blasts, and they suffered heavily as a result. The use of shotguns in the Pacific Theater was a key factor in the American victory. It gave them a unique advantage in close-quarters combat, and it allowed them to take back crucial territory from the Japanese. The Japanese infantry never expected to face such a powerful and intimidating weapon, and it caught them off guard. The effectiveness of the shotgun in combat is a testament to its design. The 12-gauge shotgun is a simple yet powerful weapon, capable of delivering a huge amount of force at close range. It's no wonder that it became a favorite among American troops in the Pacific. As we look back on the history of the shotgun in combat, it's clear that it played a significant role in the American victory. But what made the shotgun so effective? Was it the design of the weapon itself, or was it the way it was used by the American troops? To answer that question, we need to take a closer look at the science behind the shotgun. How does it work and what makes it so deadly? That's what we'll explore in the next section. The sound of a shotgun blast is unmistakable. It's a loud, sharp crack that can be intimidating even to seasoned soldiers. During World War II, American troops used shotguns to great effect in the Pacific Theater. One specific story that stands out is the Battle for Okinawa. In 1945, American forces launched a massive invasion of the Japanese island of Okinawa. The Japanese army was well entrenched, with fortified bunkers and tunnels. American troops had to fight their way up the island inch by inch. That's where the shotgun came in. Men like Private First Class Wilburn Ross, a young soldier from Texas, carried shotguns into battle. Ross and his comrades used their shotguns to clear out Japanese bunkers and tunnels. The shotgun's spread of bullets was perfect for close-quarters combat, where the enemy was often just a few feet away. The Japanese soldiers, who were used to fighting with rifles and machine guns, were not prepared for the shotgun's brutal effectiveness. In tight spaces, the shotgun was a game-changer. American troops could fire a shotgun blast into a bunker, and the spread of bullets would hit multiple targets at once. This tactic was particularly useful in urban areas, where the fighting was often house to house. American soldiers would use shotguns to blast open doors, then clear out rooms with a second blast. The shotgun became a vital tool in the American arsenal, giving troops a distinct advantage in close-quarters combat. The Japanese military, however, was not about to give up easily. They adapted their tactics to counter the American shotguns. Japanese soldiers began to use their own close-quarters weapons, like grenades and bayonets. The fighting on Okinawa was fierce and intense, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. Despite being outgunned, the Japanese army put up a fierce resistance. But in the end, the American forces emerged victorious. The battle for Okinawa was one of the bloodiest of the war, with over 72,000 American casualties. The Japanese lost even more, with estimates suggesting over 110,000 soldiers killed. The use of shotguns on Okinawa was a key factor in the American victory. It showed that even in the most intense close-quarters combat, the right weapon can make all the difference. The shotgun's effectiveness in urban warfare and close-quarters combat has been studied by military historians and tacticians. The lessons learned on Okinawa have been applied to modern warfare, where shotguns are still used by some special forces units. The story of Okinawa serves as a reminder that, even in the heat of battle, innovation and adaptability can be the difference between victory and defeat. Now, let's take a look at how the Japanese military responded to the American shotgun tactics, and how they tried to counter this new threat. The sound of a shotgun blast is unmistakable. It's a sound that can strike fear into the hearts of enemy soldiers. During World War II, American shotguns played a significant role in the Pacific theater. One specific story that stands out is the Battle of Okinawa. In the spring of 1945, American forces launched a massive invasion of the Japanese island of Okinawa. The Japanese army was heavily fortified and the fighting was intense. American soldiers were facing fierce resistance, and they needed every advantage they could get. That's where the shotgun came in. The U.S. military had issued shotguns to some of its troops, and they proved to be highly effective in close-quarters combat. The shotgun's spread of bullets could clear a room or a trench in a single shot, making it a game-changer in urban warfare. One American soldier, Private First Class Wilburn Ross, found himself in a tight spot during the battle. He was part of a team that was tasked with clearing out a heavily fortified Japanese bunker. The Japanese soldiers inside were putting up fierce resistance, and Ross's team was taking heavy fire. Ross remembered the shotgun he had been issued, and he decided to use it to try and clear out the bunker. He loaded the shotgun and approached the entrance to the bunker. With a deep breath, he fired the shotgun into the bunker, and the effect was immediate. The Japanese soldiers were caught off guard, and the spread of bullets from the shotgun took out several of them. Ross's team was able to take advantage of the opening and pour into the bunker, taking out the remaining Japanese soldiers. The battle was fierce, but the shotgun had given Ross's team the edge they needed. This story highlights the key insight that sometimes, it's the unconventional weapons that can make all the difference in battle. The Japanese infantry never expected to face American shotguns, and that element of surprise gave the U.S. military a significant advantage. The use of shotguns in World War II also led to the development of new tactics and strategies. American soldiers learned to use the shotgun in conjunction with other weapons, such as rifles and grenades, to create a powerful combination. As we look back on the history of warfare, it's clear that the shotgun played a significant role in shaping the course of battle. And it's not just limited to World War II. The shotgun has been used in countless other conflicts from Vietnam to Iraq. The next part of our story takes us to the jungles of Vietnam, where American soldiers once again found themselves facing a fierce and determined enemy. The shotgun would play a key role in this conflict as well, and its impact would be felt for years to come. The jungle was a nightmare for American soldiers. Dense foliage, sweltering heat, and constant rain made every step a struggle. But in 1943, during the Battle of Tarawa, something changed the game. A small group of Marines, led by Colonel David Shoup, decided to use shotguns in the assault. The Japanese infantry, used to facing rifles and machine guns, were not prepared for the close-quarters brutality of 12-gauge shotguns. These shotguns were not your average hunting guns. They were specially modified to fire buckshot, which is like a cluster of large pellets that spread out and hit multiple targets. The Marines also used a type of shotgun shell called Oo buck, which contained larger pellets that could penetrate even the thickest jungle foliage. The result was devastating. Japanese soldiers, hiding behind palm trees or in trenches, were cut down by the shotgun blasts. The Marines could clear entire areas with just a few shots. One Marine, Private First Class William Lewis, remembered the impact of the shotguns. "We were pinned down by Japanese fire," he said. "But then our shotgun team came up and started blasting. The Japanese were caught off guard and they didn't know how to react. The shotguns were so effective that the Marines started to use them in almost every battle. They became a symbol of American ingenuity and adaptability in the Pacific theater." The key to the shotgun's success was its ability to deliver a high volume of firepower at close range. In the jungle, where visibility was limited and enemies were often just a few feet away, the shotgun was the perfect weapon. It could clear a room or a trench with a single shot, and its spread made it almost impossible to miss. The Japanese, on the other hand, were using mostly rifles and machine guns, which were less effective in close quarters. This approach to warfare was a major shift for the American military. Prior to the Pacific theater, the focus was on long-range engagements and traditional infantry tactics. But the jungle wars forced a change in strategy, and the shotgun became a crucial part of that. The Americans learned to adapt to the environment and use unconventional tactics to outmaneuver their enemies. This lesson would stay with the military for decades to come, influencing the way they approached guerrilla warfare and counterinsurgency. As we look back on the Battle of Tarawa, it's clear that the shotgun played a significant role in the American victory. But what's even more interesting is how this tactic was developed and refined over time. The use of shotguns in the Pacific theater was just the beginning of a new era in military strategy, one that emphasized adaptability, creativity, and a willingness to challenge conventional wisdom. And that's exactly what we'll explore in the next section, where we'll dive into the world of military innovation and see how the Americans continue to push the boundaries of warfare. The sound of a shotgun blast is unmistakable. It's a loud, sharp crack that can be intimidating even to seasoned soldiers. During World War II, American forces used shotguns to great effect in the Pacific theater. One story that stands out is the Battle for Okinawa, where American troops faced off against heavily entrenched Japanese infantry. In the spring of 1945, the U.S. military launched a massive invasion of Okinawa, a small island in southern Japan. The Japanese army had dug in deeply, preparing for a fierce defense. American troops, including Marines and soldiers, were tasked with dislodging them. The fighting was brutal, with both sides taking heavy casualties. As American forces pushed deeper into the island, they encountered Japanese soldiers who were holed up in caves, tunnels, and fortified bunkers. These defensive positions were often impregnable to traditional infantry weapons like rifles and machine guns. That's where the shotguns came in. American troops, armed with 12-gauge shotguns, were able to blast their way into these fortified positions, clearing out the Japanese soldiers. The shotguns were particularly effective in close-quarters combat, where the spread of the shotgun blast could cover a wide area. This made them ideal for clearing out rooms, caves, and other enclosed spaces. The Japanese soldiers, who were largely armed with rifles and grenades, were often unable to withstand the onslaught of shotgun fire. One notable example of the effectiveness of shotguns in this battle was the use of shotgun-armed troops to clear out Japanese-held caves. These caves, often narrow and winding, were perfect terrain for shotguns. American troops would blast their way into the caves, using the shotguns to clear out any Japanese soldiers who were hiding inside. The key insight here is that the use of shotguns in this battle was a game-changer. It allowed American troops to overcome the Japanese defensive positions and ultimately secure the island. The shotguns provided a unique solution to the problem of entrenched enemy soldiers, and their use helped to turn the tide of the battle. As we look back on this battle, it's clear that the use of shotguns was a crucial factor in the American victory. The shotguns provided a powerful tool for close-quarters combat, allowing American troops to overcome even the most heavily entrenched enemy positions. This lesson would go on to influence the development of military tactics and strategies in the years to come. And it's a lesson that's still relevant today, as military forces around the world continue to grapple with the challenges of urban warfare and counterinsurgency. Next, we'll explore how the use of shotguns in World War II influenced the development of modern military tactics, and how these tactics are still used today. The jungle was dense and the heat was unbearable. American soldiers were on a mission to take down a Japanese bunker. They knew it wouldn't be easy. The Japanese were well armed and well trained. But the Americans had a secret weapon, their trusty 12-gauge shotguns. One soldier, Private Johnson, was tasked with taking point. He crept through the underbrush, his shotgun at the ready. Suddenly, he heard the sound of Japanese soldiers shouting and shuffling through the leaves. Private Johnson took a deep breath and stepped out into the open. That's when he saw them, a group of Japanese infantry, armed to the teeth and heading straight for him. Private Johnson didn't hesitate. He raised his shotgun and fired. The blast was loud and the Japanese soldiers were caught off guard. They stumbled backward, giving Private Johnson just enough time to reload and fire again. The second blast was just as effective, and soon the Japanese soldiers were in full retreat. The Americans took the bunker and it was a major turning point in the battle. But what made the difference was the 12-gauge shotgun. It was a game-changer on the battlefield and the Japanese never expected it. They were used to facing rifles and machine guns, but the shotgun was something new. Its spread of bullets was wider and it was more deadly at close range. The Japanese infantry learned a hard lesson that day: never underestimate the power of a 12-gauge shotgun. It's a lesson that still applies today. In close combat situations, a shotgun can be a powerful tool. It's not just for hunting and sport shooting. It's a serious weapon that can make all the difference in a tight spot. So what made the 12-gauge shotgun so effective in this battle? It was the combination of its spread and its stopping power. The spread of bullets allowed the shotgun to hit multiple targets at once, while the stopping power made sure that those targets went down and stayed down. It was a 1-2 punch that the Japanese infantry couldn't handle. As the battle came to an end, the Americans took stock of their victory. They had won a major battle, and they had done it with the help of their trusty 12-gauge shotguns. But the war was far from over, and the Americans knew they would face even tougher challenges ahead. They would have to adapt and evolve to stay ahead of the enemy. And that's exactly what they did, leading to some of the most innovative and daring tactics of the war, which we'll explore in the next section. The Battle of Iwo Jima was one of the bloodiest fights in World War II. American troops landed on the island, ready to take it from Japanese forces. But the Japanese had a strong defense. They built tunnels, bunkers, and hidden rooms inside the island's volcanic rocks. Japanese soldiers were well trained and well equipped. They had machine guns, mortars, and grenades. But American soldiers had something unexpected: 12-gauge shotguns. These shotguns were perfect for close combat. They could fire many rounds quickly, and the spread of the shot was wide, hitting multiple targets at once. One American soldier, Private First Class Donald Rule, used his shotgun to clear a Japanese bunker. He fired round after round, taking out enemy soldiers left and right. The shotgun's loud noise and powerful kick made it intimidating. Japanese soldiers didn't expect this kind of firepower in such a small space. The shotgun's effectiveness in close combat was a game-changer. American soldiers started using them more and more. They realized that shotguns were perfect for fighting in tight spaces, like tunnels and bunkers. The Japanese, on the other hand, were not prepared for this kind of attack. Their defenses were built to withstand machine gun fire and mortars, not shotguns. The use of shotguns in Iwo Jima was a key factor in the American victory. It showed that sometimes, the most unexpected weapon can make all the difference. The shotgun's impact was not just about the physical damage it caused, but also the psychological effect it had on the enemy. Japanese soldiers were shocked and intimidated by the shotgun's power. This story teaches us about the importance of adaptability in combat. American soldiers adapted to the situation and used the shotgun to their advantage. They didn't stick to traditional tactics, but instead found a new way to fight. This kind of thinking is crucial in any kind of conflict, whether it's on the battlefield or in everyday life. Now, let's look at how this kind of adaptability can be applied to other situations. In the next section, we'll explore how the Americans used another unexpected tactic to outmaneuver the Japanese: the use of flamethrower tanks. These tanks were able to clear out Japanese positions and create a path for American soldiers to advance. It's a fascinating story that shows how creative thinking can lead to victory, even in the toughest of battles. The last thing Japanese soldiers expected to face in combat was a barrage of 12-gauge shotgun fire. But that's exactly what happened during the Battle of Okinawa in 1945. American forces, led by General Simon Buckner, deployed a unique tactic, using shotguns to clear out enemy positions in tight spaces. The battle was intense, with both sides suffering heavy casualties. Japanese soldiers were well entrenched in caves and tunnels, making it difficult for American troops to dislodge them. That's when the shotguns came into play. American soldiers, armed with 12-gauge shotguns, would blast their way into these tight spaces, taking out multiple enemies at once. The spread of the shotgun pellets made it nearly impossible for the Japanese soldiers to avoid taking damage. One notable example of this tactic in action was during the assault on Sugarloaf Hill. American forces were pinned down by heavy machine gun fire, unable to advance. That's when a team of soldiers, armed with shotguns, flanked the Japanese position and laid down a withering field of fire. The shotguns proved to be highly effective, allowing the Americans to break through the Japanese lines and secure the hill. The use of shotguns in this battle was a key factor in the American victory. It allowed them to adapt to the unique challenges of the battlefield and overcome the enemy's defenses. This flexibility and willingness to think outside the box is a crucial aspect of successful combat tactics. In the heat of battle, soldiers need to be able to think on their feet and come up with creative solutions to unexpected problems. The use of shotguns in the Battle of Okinawa is a prime example of this kind of innovative thinking. By embracing unconventional tactics, American forces were able to gain a decisive advantage over their enemies. This approach can be applied to other areas of life as well. When faced with a difficult challenge, it's often the unconventional solution that proves to be the most effective. By thinking outside the box and being willing to try new things, we can overcome obstacles and achieve our goals. The story of the 12-gauge shotguns in the Battle of Okinawa serves as a reminder of the importance of adaptability and creative thinking in the face of adversity. As we conclude this exploration of the unexpected impact of American shotguns on Japanese infantry, we're reminded that sometimes the most unlikely solutions can lead to the greatest successes. And that's a lesson that can be applied to many areas of life, from combat to everyday problem solving. The ferocity of war is a stark reminder that even the most meticulously planned battles can be turned on their head by a single, unexpected factor. In this case, it was the introduction of 12-gauge American shotguns that caught Japanese infantry off guard, changing the course of the assault. This pivotal moment in history underscores the importance of adaptability and preparedness on the battlefield, where the rules of engagement can shift in an instant. Witnessing the bravery and ingenuity of soldiers who utilized unconventional tactics to gain the upper hand is a humbling experience. It prompts a deeper reflection on our own capacity for resilience and creative problem-solving. For me, delving into this story has been a transformative journey, one that has broadened my perspective on the complexities of conflict and the human spirit's capacity to persevere under fire. One key takeaway from this narrative is the significance of embracing innovation, even in the face of overwhelming odds. This realization encourages us to step out of our comfort zones and explore unorthodox solutions to the challenges we face. So, take a moment today to consider a problem you've been approaching from a traditional angle and see if there's a fresh, unconventional strategy you can apply to overcome it. This video found you for a reason. Perhaps you're a history enthusiast, a strategist, or simply someone intrigued by the human stories behind historic events. Whatever your interest, it's clear that the tales of courage and tactical brilliance from our past have the power to inspire and educate us in profound ways. If you've found value in this exploration of a pivotal moment in history, I invite you to like and subscribe. Your support means the world, as it allows us to continue sharing stories that can inspire personal growth, spark curiosity, and foster a deeper understanding of our shared human experience. As we close this chapter, remember that the true strength of any individual or collective lies not in adhering to the conventional, but in the ability to innovate, adapt, and push forward with courage and determination. May the stories of those who have come before us, and their unyielding spirit in the face of adversity, leave an indelible mark on our hearts, inspiring us to face our own challenges with renewed vigor and an open mind.